George Russell has earned himself the chance of a lifetime going into the 2022 Formula 1 season. Having driven well for Williams for 3 years now, Mercedes have finally decided to promote him from their reserve driver to partnering Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes number 2 seat. All the teams are now warming their tyres for the 2022 season, and the events of 2021 have not been forgotten. In today's video, we're going to look at George Russell and how he's already involved in a war of words with Red Bull. You don't want to miss this, so stay tuned to find out more. Hey Motorheads, glad to see you back on this racing track. Did you get road rage and need the scenic view of Formula 1 updates to relax? Then we're ready to drive you. So put on your seatbelts and join us as we chauffeur you through today's video. But before that, be that perfect speed freak by banging into the subscribe button. Alright, we're good to go. George Russell is a British-born driver who, in his short career, has built an impressive CV. In 2017, he won the Formula 3 Drivers' Championship title in his 3rd season in the championship. Russell was learning quickly and showed that he had the skills necessary to compete with the best. He progressed to Formula 2 when he was 20 years old, winning his debut season in the championship by an astonishing margin. 7 race wins and 11 podiums gave him a winning margin of 68 points by the end of the season. His teammate at the time finished 2nd in the championship that season and has gone on to race in Formula 1 as well. Who is it, I hear you ask? Well, none other than fan favourite Lando Norris. What does that say to you about the quality of George Russell's driving skills? Both drivers made the step to the big leagues the following year in 2019. Since joining Formula 1, both drivers had had very different experiences though. Lando Norris managed to get himself a spot on the strong mid-table McLaren side, despite finishing below George Russell by such a large margin in the previous Formula 2 season. Russell was brought into a Williams team that can't be called strong or mid-table, to be honest. When Russell joined the Williams team, they'd finished dead last in the Constructors' Championship in the previous season, with 6 of their 7 points being won by Lance Stroll, now at Aston Martin. 2019, Russell's first season at Williams was even more disastrous for the Oxford-based team. They only managed to secure 1 point all season, with Russell not managing better than an 11th place finish. You might think that it couldn't get much worse than that though, right? Well, you'd be very, very wrong if you thought so. They finished the 2020 season with an abysmal 0 points for the whole season. The 2021 Williams was still terrible. Not quite as bad as the unfunded Haas car was, but still really bad. Despite this, Russell managed to drive it to 4 points finishes, one of which was at a race that only saw 2 laps driven behind a safety car before it was called off. But nonetheless, he had to qualify well to get there, and that's what he did all season. Russell was fast in qualifying throughout the season, so much so that he earned himself the nickname Mr. Saturday. Getting to Q3 in qualifying once in the Williams would have been impressive, but Russell managed to make a regular habit of it. These impressive performances on Saturday were never quite followed up on the Sunday though, and when he was called up to the Mercedes team for 2022, it's something that Helmut Marko instantly picked up on. Helmut Marko, the Red Bull advisor, is known for his blunt words and incendiary comments. If you watch our channel regularly, you'll know all about his snide comments about the Mercedes team. Well, now that Russell is on the team, he's become the target of them as well. Without even seeing Russell drive the car, never mind racing it, Helmut Marko was already throwing shade Russell's way. In a recent interview with Auto Review, Helmut Marko was asked about his thoughts on Lewis Hamilton's new teammate. Now let's see what Mr. Russell will do at Mercedes, and whether the praise he has received in advance is justified, remarked Marko at Auto Review. I want to see that first. There's no discussion in qualifying, he's sensational there. But if you look at his race speed, he wasn't that far ahead of Latifi. In typical Helmut fashion, he isn't exactly piling the praise on Russell. Now, we read the comments on our videos, and we know that a lot of you have some pretty strong opinions about Helmut Marko and his running commentary on the goings-on around the Formula 1 paddock. Well, what do you think of his latest comment? I'll give you our thoughts, then you can let us know what you think down in the comments section. Marko does have a way with words that means he comes off as very harsh sometimes. But this time, he might not be entirely wrong. If you exclude the Belgian Grand Prix, which earned Russell 9 points despite the fact there wasn't even a race driven. He earned a total of 7 points, the same amount as his often forgotten teammate Nicholas Latifi. Despite Russell's unimpressive Formula 1 record, he's been improving year on year, despite being at one of the most underfunded teams on the grid. If these improvements can carry on at Mercedes, a team that has far more resources than Williams, then there's no reason he can't continue his upward trajectory. Marco does praise Mr. Saturday for his qualifying results, and rightly so. Russell regularly exceeded what should have been possible for the Williams car last year, and if he takes that Saturday pace with him to Mercedes, we can expect to see him on the front row of the grid on a regular basis. And in what could be a very fast Mercedes car in 2022, it wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination to see him pulling away from the pack in races where he can let his raw pace shine. In Russell's favour, he does have a history of performing in a Mercedes. Williams may not have picked up any points in the 2020 season, but despite being one of the team's 2 drivers, Russell did manage to pick himself some points. A 9th place finish as a Mercedes stand-in for Lewis Hamilton was actually a more impressive performance than his final result may imply. At the Sakir Grand Prix, he qualified 2nd on the grid on Saturday. Sunday saw him run an impressive race as well, and on lap 78 of 87 he was a close second to Sergio Perez, running on fresher tyres and eyeing up a first Formula 1 victory. But a puncture forced him to the pit and knocked him all the way back to 14th. An impressive last few laps saw him finish 9th and also take the fastest lap of the race with a 54.404 second lap. To give some perspective to how fast he was, no other driver in Formula 1 history has driven a lap in under 1 minute. So yeah, Russell can drive fast, and you would expect that from a Formula 1 driver. But to give a little perspective again to this apparently impressive feat, Mercedes won the Constructors' Championship that year with 573 points. That is a mountain-sized 250 points ahead of second place Red Bull. That 2020 Mercedes car was stupid fast. Like, really stupid fast. His abilities to fight it out in the middle of the pack is yet to be proven. And with the new car rules for 2022, there is as much of a chance of the Mercedes car being mid-pack as there is of it returning to its perch at the top. If Mercedes make a fast car, then we can expect Russell to be able to convert his outstanding qualifying performances into a truckload of points in 2022. But if the Mercedes car isn't up to their hybrid era standards, then George Russell is going to have to show he can race. Otherwise, this opportunity of a lifetime might overtake him and leave him in the dust. That's it for today's video, guys. How do you rate George Russell's chances in 2022? Will he exceed Helmut Marko's expectations and prove he's a championship contender? Or will the nickname Mr. Saturday prove to be all he earns himself in a Formula 1 car? And on your way out of our pit box, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that notification bell to be sure you don't miss out on any of our content. Till we see you next time, drive safe and bye bye.